Hello, welcome. My name is Austin Seagrave, and this is the continuation of my third talk on the third evil, which is liberalism, following on from the evils of Nazism and communism. Liberalist education is not love, but hatred. The right relationship of yes and no is the sanity of the child. The absence of no is the psychosis of the child. The father's no, it is life-saving. It is based on generations of experience of survival. It is called morality. But it is essential to the child's sanity. It establishes the boundary, the zone of safety. All animals require no for survival. It is the use of pain. Ouch, not that way. Thus, yes, or positive education is biological perversion and child abuse. The child feels for the boundary and never finds it. The ego expands to fill the available space. Parental anger is essential for a healthy child. Like lightning, it is swift and gone. The ever-reasonable liberalist parent is like suffocation in treacle, and that all-understanding smile is a sort of spiritual cannibalism. Such a parent does not love her child, patronizes her child. The child is not our Sam, our else. The child is of another race. Below all liberalist patronization is fear. Fear of the other, lest by a word or gesture you disrespect the other. Goodwill has gone. And this you must note well. When liberalists wish to change your behavior, they do not do it by positive education. They put you in prison. And note this above all. Whether a parent slaps her child or not is none of your business. To come between parent and child is to split the atom. The child of a liberalist education rejects life, so life rejects him. He is a dead-ender. He has no hold on life. Suicide is his first option. He has no vitality. He is the fag end of a race. He has no survivability. He has no sense of danger. Shut up inside his ego bubble, he has no objectivity. Objectivity is a vital survival virtue for humans. Objectivity allows the human to get outside his ego and see his survival situation. Objectivity is to know the difference between what you want and what you need, between your desires and your survival, between your ego and your biology. Objectivity requires detachment, requires self-commandment. And of course, the child of a liberalist education is incapable of love, since love involves an element of self-sacrifice, and he can only pursue gratification and stops the instant gratification ceases. And above all, he has absolutely no control over his survival. He is a fetus in a dying womb. Liberalism has destroyed the human personality as it has evolved since man began. Go home, child. In home is healing. Go home before it is too late. Freud's fundamental assertion is that the parent creates not only the body of the child, but the personality also. Are you surprised, then, that the victim of a liberalist education is not parent, but anti-parent? Sires, an epidemic of childhood psychoses. I have said what childhood sanity is. Within the strong encircling arms of earth, race, kindred, and parents, especially father. The absence of these is the presence of dread. Children, more than the young of any other species, are prone to that sort of fear we call dread. Dread is a sense of unsafety even when there is no unsafety about. Nightmares, fear of the dark are the least of it. If father is not the strong protector, the family boss, unreconstructed male, if he is merely the other mother of his child, merely the play pal of his child, if he is not self-commander before he is commander, the child must perforce find safety for itself. The childish mind is strictly dualistic. If this is bad, not this is good. The childish mind is raw emotion, unlimited by the survival of experience. When the childish mind, awoken by the dark, in the absence of the solar father, must perforce make up its infantile mind for itself, it fastens on its fancied safety like a rock climber clinging with desperate fingers to a crevice, and we have a childhood psychosis. The politically correct response is straight out of hell. Encourages the psychosis, empowers the psychosis, like pushing the head of a drowning child under the water. Say the child, lost at night in the wood of unsafe parents, is a boy, and has that day seen a sunlit girl dancing between valiant parents. Then that boy, on strict dualistic reasoning, wants to be a not boy, which is a girl, and is a girl by the compulsion of desperation, by the grabbing at straws. So then comes political correctness. And instead of recognizing that the boy has the wrong mind in the right body, and dealing with it accordingly, finds a satanic surgeon who operates on perfect bodily health. So now the child has a psychotic mind and a mutilated body. And language vanishes in the morass of absurd pronouns. And into prison you go if you call the mutilated boy he and him. And now a sad child has seen a happy bunny, and is a bunny. And into prison you go if you deny. But what do they give little bunny to eat? Here are the true rights of the child, the biological rights, the survival rights, not the ego rights, which are the death rights. Liberalist man thinks he has escaped the limitations of his biology, as a sick child thinks she's a rabbit. Every child is entitled to two parents, one father, one mother, our children. Every child has the right to an unambiguous racial identity. True parents know this and choose their partner for the child's good. In the past, all this was governed by natural necessity. Now it is governed by goodwill and wisdom. The child has the right to parents who are grown up. Children make bad parents. Parents who know in their bones that marriage is not about their gratification, but about the children. Parents who know it is not their job to entertain their children. Parents who have not rejected life. Parents who are still members of a social species, who do their business at the post office, not online, who acknowledge passers-by with courteous greetings, who do not hide from humanity behind mobile phones. Parents who do not pursue happiness. Parents not too busy playing with their toys to worry about their children's survival. Parents who do not seek their children's approval, who do not think of their children as pet substitutes. Parents who command. Those who have not been commanded cannot command themselves. Parents who prepare their child for adulthood. Parents, even true parents, cannot give their children all the wholeness they need. The bigger family, especially grandparents, are needed, are a child's right. And beyond that, a wholesome neighborhood of stay-at-homes. And beyond that, a nation rooted in the sanity of the soil. Every child has the right of the return of authority within the immediate household and the return of authority beyond the immediate household. The revolutionary expulsion of traditional authority is as disastrous as the planets expelling the sun. Things fall apart at every level of the human. Authority is the keeper of the peace, the keeper of the safety, the keeper of the well-being. Authority is the king whose pleasure is the happiness of his kingdom. Authority is the bread giver. Authority is vigilant watcher of the skies. Authority is the first defender. Authority is the one who says no, the life-saving no. Authority is the proactive will to kill, withheld and held over the children as the keeper of the peace and the guardian hand, which is why the abolition of capital punishment has had such a murderous consequence. Beneath such a hand, the children grow up straight. But let us note, woman is older than man. Woman, or as she was before she became woman, chose the man. Adam is the rib of Eve. What she chose was the alpha male. And having chosen him for evolutionary success, she is stuck with him. Feminism is raging adolescence, is vengeance, is punishment, is the refusal to re-enter woman's ancient authority, the authority deeper than the man's. However, if we compare the age of the alpha male come patriarch versus this present revolutionary age, we make sure one thing is clear, and we never again let adolescent intellectuals, nerds, get their hands on governance. The revolutionaries killed more millions in a few decades than all the kings of history killed in thousands of years. Every child has the right to the example of integrity, morality, continence. Hating a racist is no substitute for morality. Children have the right to have demanded of them respect for adults. Even at the most selfish level, respect for adults is because adults keep the children alive. The children don't keep the adults alive. So it's just survival common sense. But the fundamental reason for respect of adults, of the parents, is they are the givers of life, which is why in the past we revered the past, because the past is the giver of life. We don't give it to ourselves, we receive it. Children have the right to the experience of work. They have the right to the teaching of skills, especially those skills expressed by apprenticeship. They have a right of the example for the reverence for life. The reverence for life is fundamental to all that exists. They have a right, unique to the human, for a myth of meaning. It is the myth of meaning that gives an answer to dread. They have a right to be prepared to have strong shoulders, to receive the burden of inheritance, which is the fundamental of life. Such as St. Christopher is asleep in the happiness of the rightness of his being. And most of all, they have a right to be given a strong hold on life. How healthy-minded is the racist, and busy. He has a home to defend. Home. Home is deep, deep as mother's love is deep in the wisdom of Solomon. Deep as earth is deep in the churchyard of your ancestors. Deep as the roots of a great tree is deep, whose crown is as a green mountain in the sky. Deep as time. Deep as the mother snake, who down in the darkness of the original cave moves through her coils and thinks. Let her thought be yours, that the uncountable generations of her body shall not come to a dead end, that life shall not perish from the earth. The defense of home is deep, deeper than guns, deeper than kings and emperors, as deep as the hurtling fury of the tigress in the defense of her cubs, as deep as antibodies, which defend their body from alien invasion, and are conserved through all the evolution of the primate, including his social evolution, until now, and liberalism, and anti-racism, and biological perversion. And now the antibodies are to defend the alien invader, and now is the end of time. Unless the racist is green, he is merely another one who hates. What is the green racist defending? What is home? Remember that home is where your survival comes from. When you defend home, you're defending your life. Home, then, is not your bungalow, your playhouse, your coffin box. Home is your homeland, your earth. What is kindred without the green earth to sustain it? Let me repeat so you understand. It is not the United Nations, it is not the European Union, it is not liberalism that is the organizer of your survival. It is the nation. It is England. The name we had for earth and race in our ancient times was Anglican. Anglican. The same name for the place and the people. Why not? Common sense. Without the earth there is no people. No foreigner is obliged to keep the English alive. Only the English, and only from the earth of England. So it is not merely deep biological instinct to defend it, it is reason itself. Reason is not reason that contradicts survival. It is not intelligent to be highly intelligent and go extinct. So the racist is green, who has given up his toys, his dildos, has escaped consumerism, is no longer destroyer of his native earth. So having made sure that you are not the first enemy of your own survival, you look to see where the next enemy is. The overcrowding of England is the next enemy. Why is raw sewage poured into the pure water of Windermere? Because there are too many arses in England. Survival is not on the agenda. So how are we to feed the children? Only the green racist asks this question, and if not, starvation. The third enemy is not the immigrants, the invited invaders, the settlers. The third enemy is not even the anti-racists, the perverted antibodies, who, when you ask them why they do something never before done in all human history, something so contrary to the oldest commandments of life itself, answer as the Nazis and the communists answer. They scream abuse at you, then menace you, then intern you, then murder you. The third enemy is capitalism, that requires the death of earth to keep capitalism alive. More of this later. The fourth enemy is anti-racism. Remember, it is we the racists who have let empire go, who from the poisonous relationship have just simply walked away. who want only to mind our own business, who only want our earthright, our England, want all mankind to be at home in their home, want that man does not perish from the earth. Remember, we are not white, we abominate that word. It's a trap. There is no such person. Black, we repudiate. There is no such person. British, we repudiate. There is no such person. We are English, and we alone are at home in our ancestral land. We alone have earthrights here, in our Anglekin. Remember the shifted definition of racism? Patriotism is now racism. This brings us to the 1960s and the adolescent revolution. In the 1960s, parents, for the first time in human history, lost control of their children. In the 1960s, children, for the first time in human history, lost respect for their parents. This did not happen under Nazism or communism, only under liberalism. The meaning of the adolescent revolution is simple: the hatred, loathing, and rejection of patriotism. A child forever. Patriotism is the acceptance of life continuous, the most natural thing in the world, where fulfillment, happiness, and love truly lie. The hatred of it is the hatred of life, the child forever. The raging and refusing child forever. Life continuous is the life of your forebears continued in you. In a word, for us, the life continuous is Anglekin. The burden of the land and the folk, received and cherished and passed on. This is what the anti-racists mean by racism. Fatherhood is what the anti-racists mean by racism. And the consequential collapse into the moral cesspit. Why bother? At the table, the plates await. One plate is not so heaped as the others. Mother's plate. Father keeps himself to his single pint in the pub. The pennies are needed for exercise books. Now, why bother? But this hatred of fatherhood, this anti-racism, is not a death wish. It is hatred, and hatred, remember, is the final clinging. Adolescence is the final clinging to childhood. Fatherhood is lonely, as the sky is lonely. So adolescence is a state of frozen transience. The adolescent is looking for the ideal parent, the parent who says yes. Eve found hers in a serpent. The adolescent finds his in liberalism. How well they suit each other, and how well anti-racism suits them both. Looking after foreigners is the perfect disguise for refusing to look after your own folk.